If you're new to Copilot, or AI assistants in general, you should start by seeing how Copilot handles both simple and complex questions, how Copilot learns from you, and how to fact-check Copilot's responses. In this video, we're already signed into the Copilot website, and we're going to see how to use Copilot as a chat assistant. I'm Nick, and this is video 2 out of 14 in my full-length training course on Microsoft 365 Copilot in a company or similar organization. You can find the full playlist on this channel, or you can find the links to the other videos in the description. To start, if you have the Work Web toggle switch at the top, I want to switch over to the web mode. With this set, Copilot will answer your questions based on information it finds on the internet, and it's a great way to get familiar with the tools. And I'm going to start with a very basic question and get more complex as we go. So in the chat field, I'll type a simple question. What is the time difference between California and Italy? Just type your question, then click the send button or hit the enter key on your keyboard, then wait for the response. And after a moment, we get the answer. Now, of course, Copilot doesn't just answer questions. One of the many additional capabilities is that it can continue with an ongoing conversation and will remember the context. So I can ask a follow-up question here. I'll ask, what's the difference in August? And it answers based on that context. Great. I'm going to ask another follow-up question. What's the difference between Europe and the UK? And it answers based on the existing context. It knows that we've been talking about time zones, so I don't have to specify that. So you can continue an ongoing conversation if you want. But whenever you want to start a new conversation and reset the context, you can click the New Chat button on the left or at the top. And in this new chat, I'm going to ask that same question. And because I started a new chat, resetting the context, it has a lot to say about geography and national affiliation. It does not assume that we're talking about time zones. So you can continue an ongoing conversation or reset the context. But Copilot also stores previous conversations. So in the panel on the left, you can find a list of previous chats. You can select one and continue with that context intact. But what if you don't want a conversation to be saved? Well, if you go to the New Chat button at the top, there's an arrow that opens a menu, and you can choose the option for Temporary Chat. But pay attention to this information here. Depending on your organization's policies, even your temporary chats might be stored and may be accessible to your IT administrator. You can always discuss retention policies with your administrator, but you should not necessarily treat temporary chats as a privacy tool. But still, I've started to use temporary chats pretty often, because most of the questions I ask, I just don't want to be stored in my chat history for later reference. It just keeps things cleaner. Next, I'm going to ask a more complex question, which will let us see more useful features. I could start a new chat, or in this case, I'm going to choose a chat from my history and continue with that context. And I'll ask, after the UK left the European Union, which exports from the UK to Europe were most affected? Now, before sending a more complex question like this, you might consider choosing a different mode from this menu. You can choose Quick Response for fast answers, but for more complex topics where you might question the accuracy of the answers, the Think Deeper mode will take more time to analyze a question and compare results from different sources to ensure the most accurate response. Now, you may see other options in this menu, and in fact, it's likely that you'll see different options from what we see in this recording. Microsoft works in partnership with OpenAI, so you may see the option to use ChatGPT models, or you may see previews of new models that Microsoft is testing out. Or Microsoft might make different modes available for different subscription tiers. With that in mind, I'm going to choose Think Deeper, and then I'm going to send this question. And this will take significantly more time before giving me an answer. But when the response comes in, it's more detailed and more focused on accuracy. Next, we need to recognize that information Copilot finds on the internet may not be 100% accurate. To help with that, Copilot offers a way to fact-check information. For a complex question like this, you will probably see citations. There are several citations through this response. You can point at a citation to see where Copilot found this information. Or you can click a link to go to that site, read the original source information, and judge the accuracy for yourself. Or at the bottom of the response, there's an option for sources, which shows a complete list of all of the sources it used for this response. Just remember, some questions, like a question about time zones, is so basic and low risk that a quick response is probably as reliable as you would ever need. But when we use Copilot for tasks related to our job, we cannot simply depend on quick, unvetted answers from an AI assistant. The Think Deeper mode and fact-checking the sources are two strategies to get more accurate results and to confirm those results. Next, you may have noticed the microphone button in the chat field. This lets you talk to Copilot using your natural voice. I'm going to start a new chat, then just click that microphone and ask my question. How does a cantilever bridge work? Is it the strongest, most reliable system for large span bridges? Then I can click the send button to send that question. Now, if you've ever used the free or the individual version of Copilot, you may have seen Copilot use a synthesized voice to be more conversational. At the time of this recording, Copilot in an organization does not use that synthesized response. But it's still easy to ask your question with your voice using the dictation tool. Now, to finish up here, I want to go to Settings. Near the top right, you can click the button with 3 dots to open the menu, then go to Settings. In Settings, we'll go to the category for Personalization. And there's an option here for Custom Instructions. If there are any general rules that you want Copilot to follow for every response, you can put that here. You might tell Copilot to always give a brief response, or always give long, detailed responses with a summary at the end. Or you might tell Copilot that you work for an advertising agency and you want all of the answers to focus on that type of work. Just be aware that any instructions you put here will be applied to all Copilot responses, unless you come back here and change the instructions. And finally, also in the personalization section, there's an option for Copilot Memory. As you engage with Copilot and it learns more about you, it can save that information in the long-term memory. What Copilot knows about you can help it provide answers that best meet your needs. You can delete individual memories here, you can clear all memories at once, or if you don't want Copilot to develop a long-term memory about your preferences at all, you can turn the Copilot memory feature off entirely. Many of the main features we've used here in the core Copilot chat will continue to be useful as we use other Copilot tools. And at this point, you should be ready to jump in and start using the Copilot chat right away. Remember, this is part of a full training course. This is video 2 out of 14. The links to the other videos are in the description, or you can access the playlist on this channel.